Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to another amazing episode of Boss Talks. And did you know that a study has shown recently that 49% of people have fear every day that they're not going to have enough money to retire. And 47% of people live with the fact that they don't have enough money to even cover expenses at the end of the week. So, there's so much fear around money. And one of the reasons why we do Boss Talks is so you can be the boss of your own life and take control of your life. So if you haven't guessed already, today we're going to be talking about money, which is a bit of a taboo subject in certain countries, Australia being one of them. People get really touchy and really nervous around it. And we want to just blow that out of the water. We want to shake it up, because at the end of the day, I'm not really that certain that there's any way to have a hell of a lot of choice in your life if you don't master your mindset around money. So, Kristine, what are your thoughts around money? Let's get started.
Oh, thanks, Joel. And yeah, that is a scary statistic. And so many people are living week to week and paycheck to paycheck with no savings, no backup plan, no fire extinguisher account. And it causes a lot of stress. And the number one reason why people go in to see their GP is stress-related illnesses. And, the number one reason why couples break up is because of fighting around money. So if we can help you today with reducing some of the anxiety and the stress that comes with money, then we'd love to be able to do that. But it's not actually money that we need to talk about. It's the mindset. It's your beliefs. It's your patterns. It's your habits. It's the stories that have been passed down from generation to generation, I guess. And for me, I was always told that money didn't grow on trees. What do you think I'm made of? Money? No, you can't have that. So as a parent, I've really got to capture my verbiage around it when I'm, talking to my kids when they're asking for things like, Mom, can I have this toy or can I have that? And instead of saying, no, what do you think I'm made of? Money, or money doesn't grow on trees, I'm trying to educate them that we've got the money, but we choose not to spend it on things like that. So it takes a while, and it is all about creating new habits and new belief systems. But we want to give you permission today to be the first generation in your family to break that poor man lineage, that poor man mentality. Because let's face it, so many of us were told that we had to go to school, get a good education, go to university, go and work for someone for the next 40, 50 years, and hopefully you get a gold watch at the end of it. And then when you retire, you'll be able to travel the world if your hips are still in place and if you're still alive. I don't know. I've seen a lot of people retire and they leave the planet within 12 months. That's a scary thought as well. So, the world's changing, guys. You can't rely on your boss. You can't rely on the system to have your back. We have to start taking the reins and taking control of our financial future. Now, I want to share a little bit of a story, because I've always been really shit with money. I've been working since the age of 12. And when I got to 30, my life just fell apart. I went through a divorce. I'd spent all the money from that divorce. We split it 50-50. And I just looked at my life at the age of 30 thinking, oh my God, I've been working since the age of 12 and I don't have a cent to show for it. And I was literally about days away from moving back in with the parents. But I decided to do something about it. I decided to get myself out of the situation because my health suffered, my relationship suffered, no one wanted to hang around me. So I thought of ways of, okay, how can I create more money? I've got some good skills and talents. So I started working at a drive-through coffee shop, and I was on the little headphone set, and I flipping loved it because I love people and I got to work with teenagers. And that was the start of recuperating from this massive financial stress that I was under, this strain. And a lot of people, Joel, they just sit there. They just sit there in these situations and they don't change anything. They're expecting the world to change, rather than going out there and changing the world themselves. So we stay stuck for years, and it causes so much pain because we'd rather stay true and defend those truths that we were brought up with rather than challenge them and get out of the situation. So that was a really long-winded answer to your question.
That's all good.
There's so much to it though, isn't there? And so much of it, guys, come back to your mentality and your mindset around money. And as Joel said in the beginning, here in Australia, it's such a taboo subject, but I don't know why. Like when I was growing up, I was made to think that rich people had done something wrong to get their money, that they'd scam somebody or they've ripped someone off, or, you know, and so I had this really weird connection with money and people with wealth, and, you know, and even as a child, like my dad worked for the council, so every 6 weeks we were getting a brand new Holden Commodore, and people thought we were rich. People thought because we had a new car rocking up every 6 weeks, but the council were flipping them because it was good for them, but we didn't actually own it. We rented that car. So people had this misconception even around our family, and, you know, what we were growing up with. So, yeah, I don't know if that answered your question at all.
It's huge. No, it is a big topic, and I can see us doing many podcasts around this. If this is valuable to you, and this is bringing up anything, comment in the comment section below, reach out to us, you know, but it's so funny. Grant Cardone, he's someone I followed, and I went over to America to learn from him, and he's like, money doesn't grow on trees. He's like, hang on a minute, it comes from the cotton plant, so technically, yes, it does. And he just blows. He uses comic relief to lower everyone's inhibitions a bit and get them laughing and everything like that. But here's the thing: never, ever, ever compare yourself to money. You are, by saying you can't afford something. You are an infinite spiritual being on this planet. Just understand that comparing yourself to an object that you believe you can't afford is really doing yourself a disservice. So just cut that straight out of your life right now. And you hear all these things like it doesn't grow on trees, money can't make you happy. Well, when someone says money won't buy you happiness, you know you're pretty much talking to someone who's broke, because rich people don't say that. And you know, money can bring happiness because it can end suffering. You know, if we're wealthy and we can use our money to put a roof over someone's head, or feed someone, or make a difference, or help with research or everything like that, and you can end someone's suffering, it's what brings the world. So it can put a smile on someone's face. And you are not more spiritual because you don't own shoes or you're poor or something like that. That's just total nonsense. So don't believe that at all. And money won't make you evil. Money will just give you more choices. Now, I can prove that, because if I gave you $1 million or I gave you 1 million Post-it notes, there's no difference between that. They're both pieces of paper. Now, 1 million Post-it notes isn't going to make you evil. So really check inside yourself and see, why do you think that you have some evil inside and that money will bring out? You're a good person. You're a good person now. More money is just going to allow you to have more choices, and that's it. So don't believe the hype. Don't believe what the system's telling you, that you need to have, you know, as Kristine was saying, the 45 years in a job to just make it far enough so you can retire poor. You know, it's real. Money, I know lots of really amazing people that are really wealthy. You know, there's Richard Branson, there's people that we know like Linda and everything like that. They are terrific people, changing the world, empowering people to better themselves, and they're very wealthy. And that, yeah. What do you reckon?
Oh, I love that, mate. And it's so true that I think you need to do things that bring you joy, and having money allows you to do that, do more of the things in your life that brings you joy. But there's a lot of guilt around it, a lot of self-worth issues. And, you know, one of my coaches, Mitch, he always says, you know, show me your bank account and I'll show you your self-worth, you know. And we're all born as these beautiful, unique beings, and we all have natural abilities and talents and skills, but we tend to dull them and we just fit in with the masses, and we just become content, and we don't push ourselves or really allow ourselves to evolve. Now, the universe is always evolving, and everything in it is growing and evolving all the time. It's just the natural order of the universe. So if you're not growing and evolving, you're basically dying. So we want to be able to give you permission today to go, you know what? It's okay to have a desire to be rich. You know, Joel and I, we've got some massive passion projects. We call them passion projects because we need to create a lot of money to be able to make these passion projects come to fruition. So we're not worried about money at all, and we don't have any self-worth around it. We're absolutely worthy of it, and we're going to make these passion projects come to the forefront and become a reality because we want to make an impact. We want to leave a legacy. But more than that, we want to be an example for our children and our children's children to let them know that they are absolutely capable of anything. And you know what? There is an abundance of wealth in the world, guys. There really is. And if it was evenly distributed to every single person, we would all have $10 million each. But here's the catch. Your shitty beliefs around money would make you dwindle that 10 million down to a level that you feel worthy of. And it's probably what's in your bank account right now. So check in with yourself, you know, and who put us through that thing the other day where you can have like a suitcase of $10 million, or I can give you the strategy on how to create it yourself. Now, most people go, yeah, just give me the suitcase. I want the quick fix. I want that. But as I said, you will just dwindle it down. Whereas if you take the strategy on how to create it, you build up your self-worth. You feel worthy because you've actually done something to earn it, to achieve it. So I think there's a difference there as well. And we're going to have to do a lot of these podcasts, I think. There's so much to talk about.
There is, like, and it's so true, like, around that. Like, you've got to earn your stripes.
Yes.
You got to earn your stripes to handle the money. So if someone gave me like a $5 billion company, I'd probably mess it up because I haven't earned my way to have it. Now, like a $10 or $20 million company, or, you know, I can handle that. It's just, and I've got to be able to grow, to make the jumps to continue to get higher. And maybe, you know, it's a journey. And, you know, just going back to something you said about people's unlimited potential, like, think about it. There's never been a doctor in the history of the world that when a baby's just born, has gone, oops, oh, there's an average one.
Yeah.
Never. You have got unlimited potential right there and then the system takes over, and then your programming happens, and then you start to believe the bull crap. You start to worry about what people think. You worry that, oh, what happens if I get wealthy? My friends won't like me. Or, you know, I know people that are super rich, earning over 2 million, or super rich. They're getting $2, $3, $4 million a year, and they hide it so they just look like they got a normal wage. They don't have a big house. And that's all cool. But they hide it because they're worried that they're going to get alienated from their friends. I'm like, oh my God, like, that's okay. If they don't like it, then you need new friends. You know, like, that's just my own. So, okay, so we want to get strategy, right? We want to get some strategy. So, like, Grant Cardone teaches the millionaire maths. So here's some ways to sort of crack your brain and get you thinking. So you could, and forgive me if I got the maths wrong, you'll get what I mean. So you could have 100,000. So you want to make $1 million, you could have a $100,000 wage for 10 years, but you can't spend anything. You know, then you'll have $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, you could get $114 per hour every hour for 1 year, and you'll have $1 million. You could get 5,000 people into a $200 product, and you'll have $1 million. Or you can get, you know, you understand where I'm going with that. So it's just about cracking your mind about how you can reverse engineer. So you want your $1 million, start getting creative, you know, like, sit down every night and write down 20 new ways that you can make money, and keep going until you got like 200 or whatever amount. You might be really creative and have more, and go and action some of them. Like, if you action 3 a week out of the 20, you'd never run out of ways to make money. And then you never know, your $1 million idea is in your mind, but you need to get it on paper because it's lost in there. Like, I don't know about you, but it's a mess in here for me. I get it down on paper, and then you start actioning it, and you never know, your $1 million idea might be in there. The next cure for some disease or might be in there. But you got to get it out, and you got to get it down, and you got to take action. So, guys, like a cool way that I'm pretty Grant Cardone today because the dude's got a jet, right? And you can't fake a jet. You can fake a Lamborghini, but you can't fake a jet. Once you got a jet, you know you're the real deal, right? So he created the 40-40-20 rule. Now, guys, this is not financial advice. This is just general stuff that I'm doing, you're doing, and other successful people I know. It's what Grant Cardone says. Please, use common sense here and attach it to your situation. But what he does is he has a business, and his income that comes in gets split into lots of 40%, 40%, and 20%. Mm-hmm. So 40% goes into his holy account, which is sacred, doesn't touch it, and he jokingly says he'll punch holes in your face if you go near it. So it's for the only use for that is to buy cash flow producing assets.
Yep.
So he just keeps loading money into there until he can buy property or buy, whatever interests you in investing. The second part is for his business. So all expenses, everything goes out of there, tax, keep yourself out of trouble with that account. And then the 20 is what you live out of. So your expenses for food, rent, all that sort of stuff comes out of that 20%. Now, imagine if you did that with your income right now. Now, we've got a wide array of people that listen to this. Some people are really down the track in chapter 20 of their wealth creation. Some people, it might be just starting out. And it's going to sound tough for you to actually only live off 20%. And what we want you to do is I want you to crack your brain and realize that that's what it's got to take. Something like this is what's got to take to get you the wealth and create generational wealth. Because you start to see the compounding effect of this and it becomes massive. And that's what the rich do. They use their money to go make money. And it can start with a couple of bucks, even if it was $10, $20 a week that you could just slowly put away, it's going to build. Even if you only had $10 to do the 40-40-20 with, it's more than what most people would be doing anyway out there. And most people, as I said at the stats at the start, are living week to week or fearing that they are never going to be able to retire. 16% of those people that are worried they can never retire are millennials. It's too young to have that fear, my God. So, yeah, the 40-40-20 does that. It'll build, it'll get you assets, be clever and just take control because no one's going to come save you. So do you want to die broke and live broke, or do you want to do something about it now? Now, I feel like I'm in chapter 1. And I believe I'm a good person. I believe I do good things with my money. And I believe I give my family a great standard of living, and I want to increase that. And it's fun, and you can do some amazing things. Does this sound right?
Yeah,
what did you agree?
Absolutely. And one of my missions in life is to live a life where I never have to worry about money. How many people that are listening to this podcast right now would love that goal? And something that we do in our household is when a bill comes in, we actually thank it. We come from a place of gratitude because we know we've got the money there to pay that bill. But it hasn't always been like that, guys. I've definitely been struggle street where I've thought about, oh my God, how am I going to get the money to pay this bill? Or how am I going to, get food on the table this week? We've been there, but we've taken action. That's what sort of separates us from the masses, I guess, that so many people focus on their lack of rather than asking better questions and going, how can I create more money? Or how can I manifest the money or attract the money that I need to pay that bill into my life right now? And so many of us, as I said, have so many skills and talents that are going, they're just wasting. I mean, if you go to a cemetery, you are stepping over millions and millions of dollars of lost ideas and innovation and creativity that people have just taken to their grave. Don't be that. Don't die with the music still in you. That's what Keurig says. this is your time, guys. There's never going to be a better time to get your finances sorted, to get your mindset right, and to really step into your power and create that masterpiece life. So many of us don't even allow ourselves the luxury of dreaming, and as Joel said, just start writing down some ideas. It might sound crazy, but when you get it out onto paper, then your creative juices really start flowing, and you go, wow, that's actually a pretty good idea. I might explore that a little bit more. You might partner up with someone, or there's so many ways to make money. It's insane, and think of things that people need in everyday life. Like think of things that people need that maybe they don't want to do, like bookkeeping. We were just talking about this before. Outsourcing. People want to outsource bookkeeping because they hate it. It's a job that they hate. Cleaning, domestic cleaning, things like that. So there's so many ways. And imagine if you created another account where you had just this little side income coming in from another stream, and that's compounding, that's building up, and you're not touching it while you're still surviving on, what you're making in your job or your other business or whatever. It's to see it build, and then to be, to want to increase that. It becomes addictive, guys. It kind of becomes a bit like Monopoly in reality. And you're like, okay. And then you start to see that you've got more choices, and you can start saying yes to more things that bring you joy. That's why you want money. You don't want to let go of the things that bring you happiness and joy. And at the end of the day, when you look back, like, you can't take any of the materialistic stuff with you, but the experiences and the memories and the adventures that you got to have, like, that's why I want to create my money. The impact that I get to have in my kids' life, my family's life, in other people's lives, I think that's what it comes down to. So yeah, really give yourself permission to start dreaming again, guys.
Look, it's all borrowed. We have to give it all back, so we might as well borrow the good stuff. And like, whatever you believe in, God, the universe, or anything, like, why would anyone think that God is only in Kmart and not in Gucci? Or God is in a Daewoo and not a Bentley? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's everywhere. The energy's everywhere. The universe is everywhere. Whatever your beliefs are, that's fine. But like, he's everywhere, so you might as well get the good stuff, because he's not hating on that stuff, or it's not hating on that stuff. Just go get the good stuff. You deserve it. So yeah. So I guess a bit of a curveball. Like, what books do you recommend people that want to get started? Like,
great question. I'm just finishing off The Barefoot Investor, which is a great, easy read book for people to start. He's got some really simple strategies in there. Amazing. He's also got a book for families, so The Barefoot Investor for Families, which teaches you how to speak to your kids and how to set up little financial buckets for them. And it doesn't matter how old your kids are. I mean, I've got a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. 2-year-old, okay, a little bit young, but the 6-year-old, she's been using these buckets. She's basically got a smile bucket, a splurge bucket, and a giving bucket, and she knows that she can use the splurge bucket for whatever, waste it, that's okay. The smile bucket is for things that bring her joy, things that she wants to save for. And then the giving bucket is to either give to charity or to buy a gift for someone, like, just randomly. And it teaches them such amazing values, because let's face it, our kids are not getting financial education in the schools, guys. We didn't get it, and they still haven't changed the curriculum to bring it in. So where are they looking to get their financial mindset? They're looking to you. And are you being the best example that you can be when it comes to finances? I'm hallucinating here, but the answer is probably not. So you've got to look to books. You've got to turn to podcasts. You've got to turn to mentors and coaches in this area. That's exactly what Joel and I have done. So Barefoot Investor, I really love it because he's an Aussie bloke. He's got some simple strategies. One of my first financial things I went to was a thing called Money, Mind and Matters, which MJB seminars hold. It's a free seminar around the country. Anyone can go to it. It's 2 days. And they will get you thinking about money totally different. They talk about universal laws and everything like that. So that's another really great free event that you can go to and just get amazing mentorship and coaching around it. Think and Grow Rich, amazing book. Amazing book. The Science of Getting Rich is another incredible book.
You're stealing all my books.
Oh, sorry,
You're stealing all my
Joel.
books. Yeah, you've knocked off every single one so far. I better butt in. Look, all your kids, most likely, if you're listening to this from Australia, are getting is like at school is, hey, join a low interest Dolomites account. And I don't do it because like they're just getting, the bank's just getting money from your kids and they're not getting anything back. So I think you can find better alternatives to that. And yeah, what are you teaching your kids? Are you teaching them to have a broke mentality? Like, what do you want for your kids? So you need to be the person you want your kids to grow in to be. So if you want your kids to be broke asses, then live like a broke ass. So yeah, I guess for me, the cash flow quadrant changed the game for me. I listened to that book and the penny really dropped about wealth, and it actually was the one that gave me the confidence to go into property actually. So I can only thank Robert Kiyosaki for writing that book. I've read nearly every Rich Dad book on the planet. The Barefoot Investor was amazing for me as a young guy. It really, really got me into the stock market, and I really learned how to invest in like for the medium to long term in businesses. And following Scott has been huge for me. I don't necessarily agree with him anymore with some things around property. I like property if you do it right. But what he does is he does speak to the average person, and he does protect you from the salespeople that are out there that are trying to get you into stuff that's going to make them money and cost you money. So you just got to beware. And, you know, he loves the stock market because, you know, you can start with $500. How good is that? I started with $500 and I built up a portfolio. The 10X rule, Grant Cardone. Don't look to millionaires for advice. Look to the billionaires. Go listen to stuff like from Ed Milet. Listen to Andy Frisella. Listen to those guys. They've made so much money. Whether you bought a course off them isn't going to make a lick of difference to them. And they are telling you their stuff's free. Like it's out there on YouTube. It's for free. So there's really, what I'm saying is there's no excuse for you not to get an education around money. And really, I guess the thing that I want to put out there is, and I've done this to people and it gets a great reaction. When someone's there trying to pitch you some advice, I just ask them how much wealth have they created from the stuff, the advice they're giving me. And you should see a lot of them back up because they're there for a commission, not actually using it themselves. So if someone's teaching your strategy, are they using it themselves? So like Grant Cardone uses the 40-40-20. I use the 40-40-20. That's why I can repeat it, because I'm actually using it. And I have to admit, when I started going to 20%, that was actually a little bit of a touch up with my lifestyle. I was like had to get used to it. And is it worth it? Yes, it is, because it gives you choice. So that's.
I love that. And as we said at the beginning, it honestly, it all comes back to mindset, guys. And if you are going to draw a line in the sand, which is exactly what I did on Sunday. Actually, I went down to the beach and I drew a line in the sand, and I'm like, right, I've got to get everything organized again. I've slid, I haven't been consistent. This is it. And as soon as I stepped over it, I started to implement. I went straight into action, and that's what you need to do. If you want to have more money, it starts with your mindset, and those books that we just mentioned are an incredible way to take that first step and to start educating not only yourself, but your family as well around this really, really important topic that I think we're not getting educated enough in the system. So I think we've given lots of value today.
Yeah, well, I just want to close by saying, like, I'm going to paraphrase Grant again, but he says, and I listened to this YouTube clip like every day for nearly a year, sometimes more, especially when I was grinding in my business and I was getting punched in the mouth. It wasn't working out for me, but I had to believe this. But he says, like, you have to do whatever it takes to be larger than life. And he emphasizes the do. You have to do the things every day, not think it. He loves the book Think and Grow Rich because it tells you need to think, but it's really the action.
Yep.
You don't need to sit in the chair and talk about your thoughts. You need to take action. The healing is in the doing. It's not in the thinking. You You will get well, but you're going to get well on the battlefield. So get out there, get amongst it. It's not, you're going to get grazed knees. You're going to hit a few rocks. You're going to hit some rocky times. And just so you know, Richard Branson, Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, they've all been where you are. They all have been where you are. They are not coming from the silver spoon. They're not a trust fund baby. They all had fear around starting a business. They all had fear, imagine Richard Branson starting Virgin Atlantic and going to Boeing and asking to buy planes. Seriously, do you think he had fear then? And was it worth it? Well, it looks like he's pretty happy. So anyway, just go out and take the action, read the books, but please, actually physically take one step. So work out where you want to be, work out where you are, and just what the first step is. And that's it. Okay, so have a great day. Have a great night. And if this has meant something to you, share it out. If it's shaking you up, then good. And yeah, go make some wealth.